5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
This is the Culture Clash.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Welcome, everybody, and Happy New Year. Yes, I think I can still get away with saying that. It is still technically the first week of the new year. We are back with the Culture Clash. It has been a bit holidays, things going on, getting other shows out on the network. We've been a little busy around here, but we hadn't forgot about you either. It is time for our Best of 2025 show, as well as we are going to be talking about Stranger Things, as our ride in the Upside Down has finally, at least temporarily, coming to an end. We're going to talk about that a little later. But you know what, guys? It's the first of the year. I'm excited. The energy is high, which means I need a little help here on the Culture Clash for this special live episode. And if you are watching on YouTube, definitely scan that QR code that is up on your screen. It'll take you to our homepage where we have all of our audio podcasts. But for right now, let me bring in my brother from another mother. Yeah, you see him up there on the screen if you're watching on YouTube right now. The one and only Mr. Kevin Reitzel.
What's up, buddy? God, good to be back. It feels like it's been a while. And yes, I know there's that thing where you can't say it's Happy New Year's past like July 3rd. But you know what? This is the first Culture Clash of the year. So screw it. Happy New Year's.
Well, exactly. I think it's a little bit, I think it's January 3rd, not July 3rd.
Did I say July?
Yeah, you said July.
Oh,
Are
Jesus
you
Christ.
thinking about your July 4th festivities or your July, whatever the July 4th movie is this year, Kevin?
January 3rd. Yes, that's supposed to be the rule. Yeah.
You are not a time traveling Australian yet. I'm just saying, even though you're married to one, you're not one yet.
Technically, I'm half Australian if you ask people. So yeah.
That's true. But guys, this is Culture Clash. So of course that also means spoiler warnings ahead. We are going to be talking about Stranger Things and the finale and season 5 in this episode. We're also be talking about our best of, so we might spoil a few things there. Plus, we have our buy it, stream it, or unsee it, our review section, and we will definitely have a few spoilers in there as well. But guys, before we get started, of course, we're going to have a little Let's News. We're going to, like I said, buy it, stream it, or unsee it. But let's talk about what's happening on the Fandom Podcast Network and what might be coming soon as we kick off this new year. Kevin, we had a little fun our last episode of Culture Clash, which was a while, but we had a great guest panel and we did a little magic 8-ball. It was getting upset we hadn't used it in a while. We did our top 8 movie remakes. So this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because you could probably have a longer list of the top worst remakes of all time, but it was fun to go back and like realize, oh, wait a minute, that was a remake. You know, yes, The Thing was a remake. Al Pacino's Scarface was a remake. So we had a lot of fun discussing that.
Yeah, go check it out. We also talked about The Running Man, Predator Badlands. We had a good time with that episode, had some great special guests as well. And of course, too, we had a great year last year where we got to meet Luke Spark, who was the director of the great film Primitive War, based off the great novel. It got a Fathom release. It's in full digital and DVD and Blu-ray release, I believe, now, or coming soon.
And 4K.
And 4K. And we got to sit down with Luke Spark and have an amazing conversation with him, not only about his own movies, but Star Wars and a lot of things he loved in fandom, Kevin.
Yeah, he's a big fan of Star Wars, and it was fun to just kind of cut loose a little bit and nerd out with him. He's a great guy.
And just a reminder to all you listeners out there, too, if you are watching on YouTube, please join in the chat, leave some comments. We'll always love the little input you guys give us, and we'd love to hear what some of your favorite things of this year were.
Yes.
Now, you're the older man around here, Kevin. Sorry, I just got to bring it up, but
it's true.
That means you get to talk. You get to talk about what we've been doing with some Fandom Podcast Network classics.
Yeah, so we're technically going on our 10th year here, Kyle. If you think about it, because this is 2026, and we started in 2016 at the Fandom Podcast Network, and there was a lot of podcasts that we did that we want to resurrect and bring to the table again. It might only be audio before we did our YouTube stuff. And so we decided to go back into the well and call it the FPN Fandom Podcast Network Classics. And we reached out and grabbed a few couch potato theaters that need to be heard again. And so we started off with Dread, with the 2012 Dread movie that we did. And We had Christy on as a guest, and that was a really good one too. And then we had our friends from the Union Federation podcast, both Amy and Haley, on for Galaxy Quest. We re-released that, and then Christmas time we did our Christmas annual new Christmas podcast, which we'll discuss shortly. But we wanted to bring back Scrooged, my favorite Christmas movie of all time. So those audio podcasts can be found if you download our podcast and you subscribe to it. You should have it there, or you can go to the was it the Podbean website, right? FPNet, Podbean.com. Yes, there we go.
All those classics also re-released on our other streams as well when they feed out to that. Kevin is such a fan of Scrooge, though he does have a fear of toasters because of what happens with toasters in Scrooge.
It's true, yeah. Mm.
And of course, Kevin, you've been heading up a lot of fun over at the Union Federation as we've been revisiting the world of Q within Star Trek.
Yeah, limited 12 episode series where we went and discussed the Star Trek Q fan collective episode by episode chronologically. All the Q episodes that starred John Delancey, and we had a wonderful guest. Gary Akers was on every episode with us. My friend Robert was in some of the earlier episodes, and of course, Amy and Haley, our co-host from Union Federation, they jumped in and jumped out as well. It was great. We covered all of those Q episodes from 1987 to 2001.
Damn it, they made me human again. And of course, we did our annual Christmas Couch Potato Theater, and this year we had a great one and a classic Christmas film and a lot of fun. The Muppet Christmas Carol. Kevin, I'm a big fan of this one. Michael Caine is awesome in it. We had a great panel for this particular Couch Potato Theater, and we had a lot of fun discussing this fun classic Christmas film.
Yeah, we had Lacey and Alex on. It was a lot of fun. And I just saw a video of Tom Hiddleston talking about his two favorite Christmas movies. One was Die Hard and this one. And he was in a Muppet movie as well, one of the more recent ones. But he says this is his favorite Christmas movie, and he loves revisiting it every time.
I think this just tells me that we need a Marvel Muppets crossover Loki hanging with the Muppets.
Yeah.
And of course, in the holiday tradition too, we released this on Life Day. But Kevin, this was a project you were very passionate about, because we talked about the Star Wars holiday special and watched it for all of those of you who shouldn't have to watch it.
Yeah, we were looking at doing it the year earlier, but we just couldn't squeeze it in. And this was something been wanting to do for a long time. And you're right, I was very passionate about this because we covered not just the Star Wars holiday special where we watched it so you don't have to, but we also discussed A Disturbance in the Force, which was the 2023 documentary about how this how this special got made. And we had our good friend from the Star Wars Stuff podcast, David Lozano, on as a guest. And we're going to continue to re-release it every year on Life Day. And don't worry if you have not seen the movie or don't want to watch the movie again. We cover it scene by scene and also talk about all those 70s commercials that popped up in between the commercial breaks. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, unfortunately, we couldn't get B. Arthur to be a guest on that show, but
that's because she's not with us anymore. But we tried.
Well, strange zombie Golden Girls. You never know what could happen. But two, we've been a little busy at Couch Potato Theater. Kevin, you headed up another 1980s classic with The Sure Thing. Well, I went a little bit farther, started dealing with some technology with the 1990 film Hackers.
Yeah, both these films were celebrating anniversaries this year. Sure Thing was celebrating its 40th anniversary, and Hackers was its 30th. For The Sure Thing, we had my lovely wife on because this is her favorite comedy of all time, and she's not a big comedy fan. And we also had guest Lacey and our friend Jennifer on as well. It was a lot of fun. And we had, was it Lacey and Alex, right, on for Hackers, correct?
No, I was Lee and Alex.
Lee and Alex. That's right. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Yeah.
All I have to say about it is hack the planet.
Hack the planet. Yeah.
And of course, too, we did our annual Halloween tradition where the first couple of the Fandom Podcast Network cover a Halloween film. This year, you guys did the original Fright Night. You did talk about the remake as with Anton Yeltsin as well, but it's the romantic podcast of the year on the Fandom Podcast Network.
Yeah, it's something my wife and I have been doing, and she has been a huge fan of this movie. And I just recently saw the original in the last few years and absolutely loved it. And actually saw the remake first, which was interesting. And we talked about the remake, we talked about the sequel, but we spent a lot of time talking about how wonderful the 80s were when it came to special effects and physical effects and stuff like that. And we talked about our favorite vampire movies of all time as well. And then we went over and did Couch Potato Theater, our canon, our special look at canon 80s action films. And we talked about Invasion USA, Invasion USA, me, you, and Lacey, in our ongoing run celebrating 80s action canon films.
You know, I think if I ever get a time machine, I'm actually go back into the early 80s and make sure young Kevin gets a cable subscription to HBO, because it changes your whole dynamic in so many ways.
I know.
And I went on our good friend Adam O'Brien, aka the Lethal Mullet, and we talked the original Running Man, as well as talking some of the remake. We had a lot of fun with that. That is a classic Schwarzenegger film. Very interesting place, I think, in the history of Schwarzenegger films as well. But we had a lot of fun talking about that. Check that out.
You know, what's funny is I remember when that movie started getting a lot of like negative naysayers about it. They just, it was like one of Arnold's like not good ones. And then for some reason, it's just like gained this wonderful nostalgia over the last 20 years. And I absolutely love watching this movie.
It is one of those ones I think it's gotten up and down, but I think it's in a very good place right now. And of course, too, our good friends over at What a Piece of Junk. There hasn't been a lot of Star Wars stuff of late, but they did release Star Wars Vision Season 3. They covered every angle of the latest season of the Star Wars anime project, which revisited some of the ones from the first season. And also part of this was the show from the first season, The Ninth Jedi, had a second episode in this. And they have announced that The Ninth Jedi will actually become a regular series on Disney Plus and towards late 2026. So I'm actually looking forward to that as well. I know the animation side, especially with Visions, because it's a little bit out of soapbox, is not for everybody, but it's still a lot of fun if you check it out. And then I just want to give out some love to Dan Hadley and all of his companions over at Type 40, who they graciously lent us Gary Akers for our Union Fed coverage. But they have a lot of fun. They're talking everything Doctor Who. They are currently been talking a lot about a lot of classic Who, because Doctor Who Modern is going on a bit of a hiatus as they kind of readjust things yet again. All I'm going to say is if you haven't caught up on Doctor Who in a while, at the end of, spoiler warning, at the end of the last season, the Doctor regenerated, and he regenerated into Billy Piper. So things could be interesting.
I like Billy Piper.
Yes, we like Billy Piper around here. And of course, too, Time Warp. We just wrapped up a year of Time Warp. We covered the year of 1990. Our last two were November and December. Obviously, November containing Predator 2, Dances with Wolves, Home Alone, and December containing Edward Scissorhands, Kindergarten Cop, The Godfather Part 3, and The Rookie, Kevin.
Yeah, it was a great year because it was celebrating its 35th anniversary. And it was a great transition from 80s films into 90s films. And at the end of every podcast, I asked the question, which of these films still felt 80s? Which of them started to feel 90s? Because a lot of these were filmed, of course, in 89 or earlier before they came out. So, yeah, it was a good run. We had a really good run.
Which leads us into what is coming up on the Fandom Podcast Network. We are continuing our canon films retrospective. We've got a couple more movies to get to, starting with Bloodsport, maybe the film that a lot of people identify canon films with because it was their introduction to Jean-Claude Van Damme. This is his first big hit movie in the United States. We're going to be diving deep into Bloodsport. That's going to be a lot of fun. And two, Kevin, why don't you tell us what we're doing for Time Warp in 2026? How far back in time are we going?
Well, you know what? We decided, we were discussing the middle of last year, where do we want to go? Do we want to go back to the 80s? Do we want to go a little bit further in the future? We're like, you know what? Let's go ahead and run, let's do a year 90s again. And we chose 1996 because it just so happens as of this year, that'll be celebrating its 30th anniversary. All of the movies and television and pop culture we're going to cover. And we got some really good movies coming up in 1996. And we got January ready to go out of the bat. From Dusk Till Dawn came out in January 1986. Biodome, Screamers, Don't Be a Menace to South Central While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood, Eye for an Eye, and Bed of Roses, just to name a few. And we're going to be talking about some TV as well, and music, as we always do. And it's kind of funny that you mentioned Bloodsport. Well, Bloodsport 2 came out in 1996, starring Daniel Bernhardt. We'll be discussing that as well.
Yeah, I'm still getting calls about you and I doing the Biodome remake in 2026.
Dude. Shh.
Yeah, I'm more concerned about waiting for my return call from Selma Hayek to talk about the anniversary of Dusk Till Dawn. So we'll see what happens with that.
Didn't we do our Biodome remake already in 2020? I mean,
that was a worldwide Biodome. I don't want to go. We are not revisiting that. On that note, let's move on. I want to talk about True Believers. It was a quiet year in comic movies. We had Fantastic Four, we had Superman, we had Thunderbolts, we had Daredevil Born Again on TV. But 2026 could be a absolutely huge year for comic book related movies. In fact, such a huge deal. We've actually added DC to the True Believers podcast, but we are looking at Avengers Doomsday coming up, Vision Quest, Lanterns, Supergirl. It's going to be a huge year for comic book properties in 2026, and we will be covering it all on True Believers.
Yeah, I know DC and MCU are the two big ones, but yeah, we've decided to include all superhero type movies in whatever it is to celebrate on True Believers. So yeah.
And then, guys, that's what's happening around the Fandom Podcast Network and what's coming. But let's get into our main show. First, this is Culture Clash on the Fandom Podcast Network. It's a new year, but we're going to keep some old traditions around, guys. So without further ado,
Let's news.
okay, well, we have a few pieces of news that kick off. Kevin, I actually want to bring up one that I just saw on the internet right before we started the show, and I didn't get a chance to add it in the notes, but apparently Sebastian Stan, who has been rumored to be part of the next Batman film, has officially been cast to play Harvey Dent in the sequel to Matt Reeves' Batman. I love Sebastian Stan. Now he's crossing the streams going from Marvel to DC, but I think he could be great as Harvey Dent in Batman.
I love that. Scarlett Johansson has also been cast in that Batman too, if I remember correctly. Or is that still rumor? Do we know that?
I think that's still rumor. They haven't officially confirmed that yet.
Well, I'm a big fan of Sebastian. I think he would make a great Harvey Dent. And I'm just excited they're moving ahead with Batman 2 because I'm curious to see what they're going to do with that.
Yeah. But Kevin, at the end of 2025, something drastic happened. I lost my MTV.
Yeah. Well,
so
some people will say we lost it back in the late 90s anyway, but yeah.
Well, MTV officially shut down anything to do with music television at the end of 2025. The Death of MTV refers to the symbolic end of its music-focused era as the network officially shut down its remaining 24/7 music video channels worldwide at the end of 2025 to focus on reality TV. Now, I shared on my Twitter, and I tagged you in a great little video with some classic MTV shows being shut down, from Celebrity Deathmatch to Carson Daly to Pimp My Ride to a few other shows. But Kevin, you and I are of that age where we were there for the birth of MTV. MTV shaped a lot of our music listening through a very big portion of our lives. It even set the ground, I think, for reality television in a good way when we got the early editions of The Real World and Road Rules. And unfortunately, then it went off the rails, and MTV slowly just basically eliminated music over the last few years. Even the music channels they did have that were music were so buried in the cable channels or on your streamers, you had to search to really find them. But MTV was an important cultural thing, but it's also just tells you the state of, I think, the music industry and where we're at as a society with MTV shutting down 24/7 music videos.
I love Pimp My Ride. I love that show.
I love that ride. I love that being on my exhibit.
And also, too, one of the most iconic shows was MTV Unplugged, when artists started bringing in and going, doing their acoustic sets and stuff. I felt like MTV was doing quite well when you had a decent balance of still showing videos and a little bit of reality, whether it was Real World or as, Remote Control, one of the early games on there. And Dial, was it what was the MTV with Carson Daly?
Oh, I can't.
Countdown. What was it called?
I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I also think of other great shows like Singled Out too during that era as well, which you were on.
Yes, I was on Singled Out. I was on an episode. Yes. I was also on an episode of MTV Sports as well. So anyway, it was an interesting time where they were starting to balance. So then you started to see the things change. And I didn't have MTV in the house when it was really making its early 80s, mid 80s run. I was going over to friends' houses to watch it, and going over there, staying up late and watching videos. And it was just an awesome way to experience music. And for a lot of people, it brought people into music because you got to actually see, not just hear, but see these performers in these iconic videos. And it was the thing to do. It was how they marketed it. And then eventually a lot of it came about image and stuff like that. And a good example is the hair metal era, that I've podcasted about on the network with the hair metal podcast. But it was just an iconic way to enjoy music, seeing it. And then then they would do live shows, they would do pay-per-views. I remember paying for the Moscow Music Peace Festival through MTV, or watching Guns N' Roses live in Paris on MTV pay-per-view. And and then of course, my favorite show of all time, Headbangers Ball, and that went strong for a long time. And then the tide started to turn. Less videos were being played. I remember Hard 60, which was the top hair metal bands, went down to Hard 30, and then we started getting into grunge, and grunge was starting to have its run. And then all of a sudden it was just more about reality TV. And I think in general, when you think about 1981, we had only about 14 years of actual like MTV videos playing constantly. And then I remember jumping ship over to VH1 because they were playing videos,
Yeah.
Still. And they were putting on some good programming too.
Behind the music.
Behind the music. Fantastic. Bands on the Run, a bunch of other stuff. Bands Reunited. So I was, late 90s, early 2000s about that. And then that
What was
started.
it? VH1. Didn't VH1 also have Pop TV?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Pop TV. Yeah. And I understand they were making more money on revenue with the reality shows. It was also cheaper. So it was more of a revenue service. And I get that, but I just wish they found a way to still keep videos going. I mean, right now, you have to go straight to YouTube, or the artists do it themselves and stuff like that. But I miss the culture around MTV. The stars were coming in and doing, the MTV Video Music Awards were such a thing for such a long time, and now they're just like, why are they holding them? There's no videos,
And then even the MTV Music Award or video movie awards was a big thing for a while.
Oh,
You got
God,
the
those were
Popcorn
fun.
Bucket Award.
Yeah, the best kiss, the best actions. I mean, they were having
It
a
was
lot of fun with it.
more like the true movie fan award show.
Yeah,
It really was.
God, that was so much fun in the 90s and early 2000s. It was just
One of the other things that
and then it
I
just
really
went to shit.
greatly miss. Yeah. One of the other great things I greatly miss about MTV was the risks they took, because they pushed the envelope. Real World, when it first started, pushed the envelope. But you also think about what MTV did with like animation shows when they had Liquid Television, which spun out
Aeon Flux, buddy. Yeah.
You had the Max, which was a great show based off a great Image comic book, Beavis and Butthead.
Daria,
right? Daria. But I actually got a little in that video that I posted on where it's showing like the lights going off, and there's a little segment of Beavis and Butthead just sitting on the couch crying. It actually kind of got me a little emotional.
Yeah.
Even. But it's sad that we're at this era, and MTV kicked off with video killing the radio star, while reality killed the video star.
Yeah.
So
gonna miss you, MTV. Although you haven't really been MTV for 20 years now, but whatever.
Well, MTV isn't the only thing that's either going away or having massive changes, because it sounds like finally there might be some massive changes at Lucasfilm. According to several websites, now this has been rumored before, we've heard these before, and there's nothing fully official yet, but there's being reported by so many different news sources. I at least wanted to bring up and talk about it because the Star Wars franchise is about to undergo a major change in leadership, and it's a change that will leave many fans feeling very happy, and I think that's a true statement, because some have been crying out for this change for a while. But it has been confirmed apparently that Kathleen Kennedy will step down as president of Lucasfilm within the next month or two, with Dave Filoni and Llewellyn Brennan taking over as co-presidents of the iconic studio. Now, according to Puck News, the rumors are true. Disney is reportedly set to confirm that longtime Star Wars creative Dave Filoni will take over Lucasfilm alongside Brennan, with the former in charge of creative side, while the latter, who is the current president and general manager of Lucasfilm Business, takes care of the business interests as Kathleen Kennedy steps down from her long-held role as president of the studio. Kevin, say what you will about Kathleen Kennedy. She's had her ups and downs, but I think we've needed this change, I think, for a while. The question's going to be, I think, for a lot of people's minds, is Dave ready to fill the shoes?
And who is this Llewellyn Brennan? What kind of power does she have?
She's basic. They're basically taking where Kathleen was doing business and creative and breaking it to Luann is basically going to handle the business side of things.
Why do I feel like that's going to hold more power?
Oh, it's because money talks.
Yeah, exactly. I'm happy, though, that this is a promotion for Dave Filoni. He definitely deserves to have more creative control over this. And I really hope, because he knows Star Wars so darn well. You know, he just knows the mythology. He knows everything. And I think someone with that knowledge is definitely good to have someone at the top of Lucasfilm when it comes to the creative force and what to do with it and how to do it correctly.
Now, I did a little research too, because there's another rumor going along with this that once this transition happens, you're actually going to see the direction of Star Wars change a little bit. The only two things, Dave Filoni's Mandoverse is going to kind of get put aside. They'll do Mandalorian and Grogu in Ahsoka season 2, but it looks like they might set that aside to go some new directions with Star Wars. Of course, we have Starfighter coming. There's still other things rumored to be out there, but I think we could really finally see a much needed shakeup for Star Wars on the creative side, Kevin. And it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, because I also believe that's the reason why Dave has been teamed up with Jon Favreau for these last several years. Favreau has been helping him and grooming him for this moment.
Filoni is Favreau is the director of Mandalorian Grogu, right?
Correct.
So is this going to take away the directing responsibilities from Filoni that was originally going to give him for this Avengers style Mandoverse movie that was originally planned?
Yeah, I think so. I kind of have a feeling that might be getting put on the shelf.
I'm kind of sad about that. I wanted to see, really wanted to see Filoni direct a live action movie before anything else, because him getting this job basically solidifies the fact that he'll probably be doing less directing, or probably nothing at all. No directing.
Or he might it might give him a project he's always wanted to do that he hasn't had a chance to do yet, because he is the head of creative. So,
I just, Iger's still in charge of everything, though, right?
That ends in 2026. Iger will be stepping down, and his successor will be named in some time here within the next few months.
I'm apprehensive about this because everyone's excited that he's getting this promotion, but it means how will he be getting his hands wet and actually be directing episodes or movies and stuff? That's where I wanted to see him go. I like the fact that has this new title of whatever creative Star Wars.
Basically, he's head of creative.
Yeah, but I just feeling like this is pulling the director's chair out of him.
We'll see. I think that being head of creative means, hey, I want to sit in the director's chair. Nobody's gonna stop me. So
I hope so.
We'll see how it plays out. But that is going to wrap up the news. But we got plenty more here still for this episode of Culture Clash. Okay, guys, as we said, welcome. It's Culture Clash Live, episode 286. We're talking about Stranger Things, its Upside Down Legacy, the Death of MTV, and our best of 2025. And that's where we are headed next, to our best of 2025, Kevin. Now, before we dive into it, I want to have a little discussion, because we've had this discussion off mic a couple times. 2025 was kind of a rough year for me to find a lot of things that really, truly got into me and got me super excited. We've had that you've had a little bit more with it, I think, Kevin, than I have. But what were your feelings on 2025 as a whole as we go into this?
I think there was a lot out there, dude. I honestly, dude, I'm going to be honest here. I don't think you put yourself out there to try new things because of how busy you were with tax and all that kind of stuff with your work. There was a lot to see out there. My wife called 2025 the year of horror films.
Oh, that's definitely
2025 was a great year for horror films, and I'm sure I could do a whole podcast with her about that. But there was a lot that was out there, and a lot of good television as well. A lot of people were getting back into theaters again. So I was excited about a lot of stuff. But like I said, I don't think that you were so busy. I don't think you had time to really dive into the fandom pool as deeply as you usually do.
And that might be part of it as well. I can tell you this as I look ahead to 2026. There's a ton of 2026 I'm really excited about, and we'll talk about that on a later show. But let's get into our best of 2025 here, and I'm going to kick things off with yes, Mr. Reitzel.
Well, let's clarify what we're doing here. So as before we go into it, so what we did is that we decided to choose about 5 of our favorite films and 5 of our favorite TV series with some honorable mentions for both of each. And so what we're going to do is you're going to go first. You're going to go with your favorite films and then your favorite TV show. And then I'm going to do my favorite films and favorite TV show. And we kind of spent some time going over. There's a lot of hard choices and stuff like that. But we just want to let the listeners know the direction that we're going to go in for this segment.
Well, let's kick things off with my top 5 movies, and coming in with some honorable mentions. Predator: Badlands. Love this film, had a real good time with it. I think it was a great addition to the Predator universe and opened up the Predator universe quite a bit.
Now, you just said something very important there, Kyle. You said you had a really good time with it. Do you know why you had a very good time with it?
Because it was fun. It just felt fun. And plus I saw it with you.
You go.
Yeah, but really it was the outstanding popcorn they had at that movie theater. I'm just saying.
Yeah, we went to we were in Georgia to see this because I was visiting my daughter Camille. You came up and we're hanging out with Lacey, and we went up to the Mall of Georgia to see this on the real IMAX 3D theater up there, which was a lot of fun. So yeah,
we had a great time. It was a blast, and seeing it on that IMAX was great. Also for me is Superman. And I'm just going to say this about Superman as far as my feelings were. I was really excited about Superman. I really enjoyed Superman when I saw it in the theater. But I have found myself having a hard time getting through a full rewatch of it. And I can't quite explain why. There's moments I love in it, but it just feels like, and that's kind of why I went from maybe being in my top 5 to being an honorable mention. And my final honorable mention is my favorite Marvel project of this year, which was Thunderbolts. I thought this cast was great. They pulled a great story. I really enjoyed it. And anything Florence Pugh, and you throw in Sebastian Stan and just how these guys worked off each other, it was a lot of fun.
Regarding Superman, I'm kind of with you there. It was a lot of fun, but I haven't had the urge to go back and rewatch it. But it did hit a moment with me though. But I need to spend more time with it to, crack my top 5 or honorable mentions.
You know what I need from Superman, Kevin? More crypto.
Yes.
But let's get into my top 5 list, and I'm gonna do it one way. Kevin's gonna do it another. We're gonna try not to confuse you around here, but I am starting with my number 1 movie of the year, and that is Sinners. Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler just they can't do wrong. You put them together, it's absolutely magic. This is, in my opinion, Michael B. Jordan's greatest performance, playing the Smoke twins in this. And this movie it had something to it. It had a magic to it. It was something, yes, we've had vampire movies before. This one just had a different feel to it. Haley Steinfeld was phenomenal in it. The young actor and musician who played the lead role, he was outstanding in it. The music was phenomenal. You get Buddy Guy in this film. It just hit everything for me. I love the fact that even the first half, before they really even get into the vampire things, it's just as intriguing, if not more intriguing, than the second half once we really get into the vampire side of things, Kevin.
Yeah. I'll save some more comments when we get into my stuff.
Coming in at number 2, F1 the movie. I wasn't sure what to expect from this film. I really wasn't. I wanted to see it. I love Brad Pitt. The filmed on the whole IMAX format. I'm going to say it right now. This is easily a top 3 Brad Pitt performance for me. He was so good in this movie. And even though this movie is a little bit long, it paces so well. And the filming was phenomenal. If you saw, you had to see this on my IMAX. The IMAX experience on this was something magical. I think Apple really handled the distribution well of this movie. And I just rewatched it again the other day. And again, even at almost 2.5 hours, it just flies. Javier Bardem is great in it. The relationship he and Pitt have in it is great. Just across the board, Kevin, I just thoroughly enjoyed F1 for so many reasons.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I'm going to go into that as well. I got some thoughts.
Number 3 for me, my favorite streaming project movie-wise of the year, and I so wish this would have gotten into theaters. This is easily one of my favorite movies in a long time too, is The Gorge. I was excited for this movie when I saw the trailers for it. I'm a big fan of both Miles Teller and Anya Taylor-Joy, and this film surprised me because this film actually had a twist to it that I didn't see coming. They made it look one way, and what ends up happening, what's the story behind The Gorge is a direction I was not expecting, and it has a great love story in it too. And the chemistry between these two was absolutely fantastic. Apple had a great year. Between F1 and The Gorge, they had a great year, but Apple just continues to put out solid movie and show after solid movie and show. I don't see Apple making bad shows at this point. And I think I think truthfully, they might be winning streaming because they're the most consistent. They've already won an Oscar. And like I said, The Gorge, I know people who aren't real huge sci-fi fans who love this movie, Kevin.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, it was a big surprise. Really big surprise.
Coming in at number 4, and this kind of surprised me this was on my list. I'm not a huge horror movie fan like Kevin. But
hold on. Wait, what?
I'm not like you. You and I both are not what we call huge horror movie fans. But your wife, however, is.
Yes, yeah. Horror is not my genre, but I do dive into it a lot more with my wife. But yeah, I understand where you're going with.
Every once in a while, a horror movie comes out that just grabs my attention. There's something about it. A great one that I can think of is The Descent. There's something about that movie that I just love, and it pulls me in. This movie was the same thing. I saw Barbarian. It's not my thing. But Weapons, because of the great performances in it, the intrigue of the mystery of Weapons.
Really great original story, too.
Yeah, and I think that's a big part of it, too, is the original story of it. And this movie has some great jump scare moments. It's very intense. But you talked about it earlier, Kevin, and we've talked about this on other podcasts your lovely wife, Erin, has been on. This was really the year of the horror movie, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And you have Sinners, and you have this in my top 5. That's saying a lot. I will tell anybody this is a must-see movie because it's different, it's original, and it really it pulls you in and has that energy that sometimes a really good horror movie has that makes it really impressive. And of course, Josh Brolin, who is an absolute in everything at these days. He's inevitable, Kevin.
And Amy Madigan has quite an interesting role in this, and she's getting some props for her acting in this from other acting award.
The makeup job was phenomenal too. So we'll just leave it at that. And then coming in at number 5, and people are going to probably say, "What?" Yes, Now You See Me, Now You Don't. I am a huge fan of this series. The first one is still one of my favorite films. The second one with Radcliffe was okay, but this one brings back the entire original cast and adds some new characters in it, including Justice Smith, who a lot of you might remember from Dungeons and Dragons, who is absolutely phenomenal in this film. This was maybe the most fun I had at the theater this year. The way this cast interacts, I love the story of the 4 horsemen. I love how they explain the magic tricks. They even have some twists in here, and there's just some great things in this movie. I had an absolute blast and was walking out of it with a smile on my face. And having Isla Fisher back was huge for me. I'm a huge fan of Isla Fisher. But Kevin, it might be a guilty pleasure, but I love these movies, and they always bring me joy. And in a year that was kind of up and down, this one just made me feel happy, and I'm like, it's going on the list.
I enjoyed the first one. I don't think I got around to seeing the second one. I actually own 1 and 2, but I have not watched the second one yet. I think I'm going to do a full trilogy rewatch on this because I do want to see this film. I just haven't gotten out there to do it. And I'm glad like everyone's back and they got some new blood as well.
Yeah, like I said, Kevin, it was so good. And I got to give a special shout out to Rosamund Pike, who plays the villain in this film. She is phenomenal in this film. And she is evil, but she's fun. It's worth it just to watch her performance in this. So if you have not go see this movie. I'm going to talk about this a little bit later too and buy it, stream it, or unsee it. But let's keep moving on because it's time to give you my TV picks. And this is where things are going to get a little interesting, I think.
Kyle's best of.
Yep. So my honorable mentions, the first season of The Last of Us was absolutely phenomenal. I loved it. The second season was solid. I don't think it was quite as good as the first season, but I still very much enjoyed it. I know other people had their problems with it. Kevin's shaking his head over there.
I gotta jump. I'll wait till you're done, but I gotta say something about this.
Well, no, go ahead, please.
No, I want you to say why you liked it.
Well, I love that world of The Last of Us. I'm a big fan of the games. I play both of the games. Pedro Pascal has actually really won me over in the Joel role. I love the feel of it. I love the special effects they do in this. I do think that a lot of people were turned off by Bella Ramsey in this particular season of how her character was portrayed, and I get that. But I still thoroughly enjoyed this, and I cannot wait for season 3.
Yeah, I could not stand Bella Ramsey in this second season, and I just did not enjoy myself at all watching this. The first season started off really well, but I know it's going by the game, but because Pedro, is not in this full season, and among other reasons, I just did not enjoy watching this at all, and I will not be returning for it anymore. I'm done. I'm done.
Well, my other honorable mention, I'm dipping into my anime fandom here because I'll be honest with you, there's not been a lot of animes coming out.
I'm curious about this, Kyle, because I had not heard of this, and this is brand new.
It came out this past year in 2025, and the reason why I am so in love with the show is it's by the creator of Cowboy Bebop. He also did Samurai Champloo and Space Dandy. The show is called Lazarus, and it's on HBO Max. If you can find it, Crunchyroll. This is a great show, and just to give you a quick idea of the premise of it. Sometime in the future, a scientist develops a pill that makes everybody feel no pain, emotional, physical, whatever. Well, after so many years, the scientist disappears. He comes back and says, we have now hit a point where everybody's on this pill. And guess what? A year from now, the first people who took this pill are going to start dying. And everybody who has taken this pill will start dying. And the story of Lazarus is this team of operatives that have been recruited by this agency to go find this scientist and try to find the cure for this. He said, because that's the other thing. He said, if anybody finds me, I will give them the cure. So it's got the classic feel of Cowboy Bebop with the animation style. It's got great action, great music. Cowboy Bebop is one of my all-time favorite animes. This is up there. It's a lot of fun, even if you're not necessarily an anime fan. This is beautifully animated, music, storyline, fight sequences. Gotcha. Check it out. So those are my honorable mentions, but let's get into my top 5. And coming in at number 1, Stranger Things season 5. We're going to talk about Stranger Things a little bit more here shortly. I'm just going to say this. In my opinion, they stuck the landing, and that's the reason why it's up there number 1 for me. We'll get into that more here in a little bit. But number 2, the show a lot of people are talking about, it was the show of the year in 2025, and that is The Pit. Now, if you've listened to me on Culture Clash, I am a huge fan of ER. I grew up all of ER. I own it. Noah Wyle was maybe my favorite character on ER. To see him come back to a medical drama and such a phenomenally well-written medical drama, think basically ER meets 24. And it was so well done, so well written, so well acted, and it won all the awards and it deserved it. Kevin, I know your wife absolutely fell in love with the show, and you just started watching it at her encouragement.
Yeah, I decided to watch like the first half hour because it's like it starts at 7 a.m. in the morning, and I'm like, okay, I could see what's going on because I'll be honest with you, I'm not a big medical drama guy. I'm not. I dived into ER every now and then and Grey's Anatomy, but it's stressful to watch basically. But I liked what I saw thus far. My wife is obsessed with this show, and when we did the WB studio tour earlier last year, we were going around and like we saw the studio that this series, The Pit, was being filmed at in LA. Even though it takes place in Pittsburgh and they've done some outside shots in Pittsburgh and stuff, most of it's inside the studio. And there's another studio, which I'll mention on my list, that was also being filmed there, another TV series.
What's funny is there's a little controversy with The Pit when it first came out because it was supposed to take place in Chicago at a certain hospital. And Noah Wiley's character might have had a little different name. And a certain Michael Crichton estate wasn't real thrilled with that whole idea. So hence we have The Pit. But it was a phenomenal show. Check it out. For me, number 3 is Alien Earth. This was the water cooler show for me. Like, I was there when it's every episode, 9:00 on FX, Hulu, whatever. I was so excited for this show. It really didn't go the direction I thought it was going to, but it was still really good. We know we're now getting a second season, and I think the 5th episode of this was one of the best episodes of television this year. And
you're talking about the flashback episode of what happened.
Yes. Yeah, the flashback episode. And I just a shout out to Kyle Chandler's daughter who plays the lead in this. She was absolutely phenomenal. And plus, anytime you put Timothy Olyphant on my screen, but yeah, Alien Earth, I really enjoyed it, Kevin.
This didn't make my top list. There's still a few things about it that I'm kind of thinking about and stuff, but just because there was a lot of good TV this year, it didn't crack my top 5 or honorable mention, but it's definitely one of my favorites.
Number 4 for me, Daredevil Born Again. I was so excited for this when they announced it. It went through some creative hell, and they ended up bringing back pretty much the entire Netflix crew to do it. Vincent D'Onofrio deserves an Emmy. This was so good and so well done. And of course, now we know we're getting at least two more seasons of this. It was probably the most violent thing I've ever seen on Disney Plus as far as an original programming. But Kevin, I think I speak for Kat, our good friend Kat, who joined us on our True Believers coverage, and I speak for you. This show was absolutely phenomenal this year.
It was good. Yes, I did enjoy it a lot looking back on it. There was one major misstep that I felt that they ended too soon with it. That I think they should have spent more time with it. That was the character that the one that was the superhero serial killer.
Yeah, I'm blanking on his name off the top of my head.
Yeah, I'm forgetting name too. But they didn't spend as much time with that. Like, we were led to believe that character was going to be like the main protagonist throughout the entire season, and it was not. And so that was the only really major misstep for me on that. Otherwise, though, it was a really good run for Daredevil Born Again. I'm really excited to see the new season.
Yeah, I cannot wait. It's only it's about 2.5 months away, if even that, at this point, at the time of recording this. So yeah, bring it on. And then my number 5, Andor season 2.
You mean number 1 or number 5?
This is my 5th.
Okay, gotcha.
Andor season 2, I thought was absolutely phenomenal. Had one of the most powerful moments in Star Wars film, period, in Andor season 2. For me, I felt like the things that came out were just slightly better above it. And I think there was more in season 1 I enjoyed than season 2, but season 2 was again phenomenal. And like I said, Kevin, it has one of the most powerful moments in Star Wars history in it, and one of the greatest speeches. And I think that's why it lands into my top 5. I think you're going to be talking more about Andor season 2 as we get to your picks. But those are my picks for my best of 2025. But we're not done yet, because Mr. Reitzel has to give his. And Kevin, let's kick things off with your best of 2025 movies, starting with.
I'll take over from here for the slideshow, Kyle, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when it came to honorable mentions, there was a few that I just could not leave off the board here. Honorable mentions for movies for me were Predator: Badlands. It was kind of flirting with the top 5, I'll be honest with you, but I had to put it in here because it was. I got really tired of people saying, I want the Predator to be nameless and I want it to just kill and do its thing. And I'm like, no, I'm happy that they decided to show us the culture of the Predators for once, and their hierarchy. And that was well-deserved and well done in this. And Elle Fanning in this was just absolutely wonderful. And I want to give a shout out to Perimeter War too, Luke Spark, and of course our good friend Blair Hiscock, good buddy of mine there in Brisbane, who I'll be visiting shortly. In February when I go back to Australia for a little while. He has a small part in this film, and more than one actually. And it was just a fun original idea based off of a wonderful book. And Luke Spark bringing it to the big screen was. I'm
sorry for interrupting, Kevin. I just wanted to interject real quick, and gave Jurassic Park a run for its money.
It did, yes, definitely. And I guess according to was it Rotten Tomatoes, it's higher rated than the latest Jurassic Park movie. So there you go. Thunderbolts hashtag asterisk the new Avengers. So much fun. It was a lot better than I was expecting it to be. A really, really good introduction into the future of the MCU, and it was just a lot of fun seeing those characters come together as kind of like the Suicide Squad of the MCU. It was really cool. Horror movies, we mentioned, did really, really good in 2025, and one of the biggest surprises for me was Good Boy, about the what happens from a dog's point of view with supernaturals and crazy stuff going on. And the director who wrote this and worked it with his wife and a few close friends, it was his dog, Indy, that starred in this. And it took about 3 years to film this. And the dog didn't realize it was in a movie the whole time, and they did it on their own properties and stuff like that. So it was low budget, but it was done in such a great way. The music was just really creepy and good. And yes, the dog does not die, so don't worry about that. They did a great job, and a lot of people think the dog should get an acting award for this. So I have to give a shout out to Good Boy. All right, let's get into my top 5 movies. At number 5 is Frankenstein. Hit Netflix November 7th, but it was in a limited theatrical run prior to this. And when Erin was here in town, my wife, we made it a point to get tickets to see this. We saw it on Halloween night here in Santa Barbara at one of the nicer theaters, not owned by Metropolitan Theaters, owned by the Santa Barbara International Film Festival. And it was great to see it on the big screen before rewatching on Netflix. Guillermo del Toro directed this, and there were so many wonderful set pieces that he's famous for. The costumes are fantastic. The practical effects, the ship that you see in this thing was all built. Frankenstein's lair was all built, and Jacob Elordi as the creature was phenomenal as this. And Oscar Isaac as Dr. Frankenstein was fantastic. Mia Goth, Christoph, it was just a great cast, Kyle. It was fantastic.
Jacob Elordi is a name we're hearing more and more of. I'm predicting in 26 he has it will be his breakout year to where he is just blows up and is huge.
Well, it's funny you say that, Kyle, because my wife is waiting with bated breath for Wuthering Heights, the movie that he is co-starring with I'm sorry, what's her name from Barbie?
Margot Robbie.
Margot Robbie. And this is like the ultimate chick flick, Wuthering Heights, and she can't wait. She's already bought her tickets, so she's going to go with her girlfriend to go see it. It's like opening around February, like around Valentine's Day. I'm going to see it too because I want to see him. And if you're wondering who Jacob Elordi is, he's very familiar with Netflix. He's done a trilogy called the Kissing Booth trilogy, and I think he's Australian, if I remember correctly. And he's fantastic as the creature, so make sure you check it out. Or as my wife would say, he is a hot Frankenstein. All right, next at number 4 is Sinners. A wonderful, wonderful film. Really surprised a lot of people. Michael B. Jordan. I think this movie is going to be nominated for a lot of Oscars. I hope he's nominated. I hope he wins. He's fantastic as this. And what's cool about this is, and Kyle, we're going to be doing 1996 Time Warp. We're going to be talking about the movie From Dusk Till Dawn, and a lot of people actually like the first half more than the second half. There's a lot of discussion about that film because of it's like 2 different films you're watching. You're watching the brothers, Tarantino and George Clooney, and you kind of want to see more of that. And then they jump into the vampire part of the film. And so my wife feels that the first part of that film is better than the second part, where I feel this one here, they did a great job balancing everything with, the brothers, gangster past to the voodoo, and then the vampires and everything else that starts kicking in. It was a really well-balanced version of this film.
You talked about awards. The Golden Globes, I believe, are happening this weekend, and this is up for a ton of awards, including Michael B. Jordan for Best Actor, Sinners for Best Picture, Brian Coogler for Best Director. So sometimes the Golden Globes are a little bit of a precursor. So this will be interesting to see what happens. But to me, Jordan and Coogler, if nothing, should be right up in the top 3 for Best Actor and Best Director. And Michael B. Jordan is one of those actors. Every freaking role, he just gets better and better. And
I'd like
this
to
is
see
no
Haley
exception.
Steinfeld get a nomination too. She was really good in that. But anyway, great cast overall.
She's too busy with her quarterback being in the playoffs right now.
It's true, yes. Next for me, I believe is at number 3, is Avatar: Fire and Ash. I have been a huge fan of Avatar since day one, and these movies have not disappointed. It is a movie experience beyond anything else. And I was just reading recently too that Michael Mann loves Avatar, one of his favorite films of like the 20th century, and a lot of filmmakers love the Avatar movies. I know this series gets a lot of crap. I don't give a shit. I love this series, and I love that every one of these episodes, some of the storylines recycled for obvious reasons, but you don't go see these movies for the storylines. But I feel like the storylines still are very serviceable, and there's something new brought in every single time. And visually, it is fantastic. We'll get more into this a little bit later, but I was really happy with the way this movie ended. And if it ended as a trilogy, I think it did a good job. Maybe we'll see more. We'll see. But I love the fact that all these movies have made over $1 billion. So suck it.
Well, I'll give my thought. We're going to talk about Avatar a little bit more in Bias Streamer and see it. So I'll give you my thoughts then. So stick around.
Okay. All right. At number 2 is what you've mentioned earlier, is the Gorge. What a clever idea. What a wonderful chemistry. And of course, you mentioned the twist in this. Visually, it was very visually fantastic as well. But the chemistry, though, between Anya Taylor-Joy and Miles Teller was fantastic. I love that we got a little bit of Sigourney Weaver in this as well. And I love how they tied it into something that happened in the past. I don't know if we'll get a sequel, but I love the fact that it did really, really well. It made me jump out and find alternate sources of physical media for this film.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting thing. I think that's a discussion we're going to be having in 2026 too, is the state of physical versus digital, because I think it's in a really weird place right now. And I think this is going to be something we're going to be talking about throughout 2026.
We've been threatening to do that for like 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think I think we had a little thing called COVID that really changed a lot of things well ahead of schedule. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. All right. And as number 1 for me, I had to come back to it. I loved it. It was rewatchable. Is F1 with Brad Pitt, one of Brad's greatest roles. He was so good in this, but the cast overall was fantastic. Mm-hmm. The music was fantastic. You mentioned Javier Bardem. I'm going to give a shout out to the entire cast in this and what it was like. It was also F1 for dummies, which is a good thing. It explained how intricate and expansive how like huge this is around the world, and how it does take a small army to run a team, and how expensive it is, and all the intricacies of running. Can't think of that word.
Of running an F1 team, race team.
Yeah.
Everything. The weird rules, all of it.
Yeah, all of it. And Brad Pitt was great. He's just a character that loves to race, and he'll race anything, and he's just good at it. And he knows the ins and outs of racing and all that kind of stuff. And I just loved it. And what was great is I was in Australia when this movie was about to come out, and there were ads everywhere, on the train stations, under the bridges, everywhere. They were pimping the hell out of this movie. And I got to see it in a really nice theater in Australia. I saw it again when I came back. I bought it on 4K Blu-ray, whatever. And I've watched it a few times. And this one is my favorite movie of the year.
I wanted to bring this up because I knew where this ranked on your list, and I wanted to wait till we talked about it. I don't necessarily need an F1 sequel, but I need more movies with Brad Pitt's character, Sonny.
The dream team here, and it was funny you say that, Kyle, because, and I would pay good money for this, is that when he was doing the promotional run, he got visited by Tom Cruise.
Days of Thunder 2, Sonny meets Cole.
Yeah, let's get a Cole Trickle and Sonny crossover where they have to race different types of races together. I'll buy that any day. Just bring it. But I do want to see more of this character doing stuff. And what's great is we're going to see more of him as Cliff Booth in the Further Adventures of Cliff Booth from
basically the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood show that's being developed that he's going to star in. Or
movie. It's a movie, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's being filmed now. He might have actually wrapped it up, I think. But Yeah, Brad Pitt's just great. Yeah, he picks really good roles. So that is my number one of my top 5 movies of 2025. So let's get into my favorite Kevin's television throughout the year. And I've got a couple honorable mentions here. Stranger Things season 5 gets an honorable mention for me. We'll get into more of that. But the John Hamm led series, Your Friends and Neighbors, my wife and I were just riveted to this show. We took a chance on it and we were sucked in. Just to give you an idea, he's lives in a rich community with a lot of rich people and superficial needs and superficial this and that. And he runs into a little bit of he loses his job and he runs a little financial situation. Basically, he starts stealing valuables from his fellow rich fans and he starts fencing them. And then there's a little murder thing that happens, and you get a lot of different. He starts to peel the onion of all the crap that everyone in the neighborhood's going through, and it's a fascinating look into that lifestyle.
It's funny because I've always felt like with John Hamm, who I love, but he feels like he should just be a level up than what he seems to be in Hollywood. And I love him in this show. I love him in Landman. I love him in Tag. I thought he was wonderful in that movie Tag. And so many other things. But it's just like I just want to see John Hamm get that one more level up to really
he did the Fletch movie, and you're like, yeah, he needs to jump up to the George Clooney type of thing, because he's a good looking guy. He's funny. He can be dramatic. You know, I mean, some of his best work seems to be on Saturday Night Live whenever he goes over there, you know, but you're right. He definitely needs to go up there. But Stranger Things and Your Friends and Neighbors are my honorable mentions. At number 5 is Shrinking, and it has filmed, I think it's its final 3rd season. I think they're only doing 3 seasons here on Apple TV. And this is a wonderful series with Jason Segel and Harrison Ford, a wonderful, wonderful cast. And remember I told you when I was doing the WB tour with my wife earlier last year, Kyle, and that the Pit was filming there. Well, Shrinking was filming there as well. And so we got to see like just the outside of the studio where they were filming this and stuff. And this is a wonderful series. It gives you the feel, some wonderful acting in this, and a little different side to Harrison Ford. That I really, really enjoyed. Awesome series. It comes in at my number 5. All right, next. I love this show, Kyle. It's such a guilty pleasure for me. The Gilded Age. My wife and I are addicted to this show. It's got renewed for a 4th season. We watched the 3rd season this year. It's just a wonderful time of what it was like in the late 1800s in New York, where new money meets old money. And you got people like Alice, the Allister family, and people that survived the Titanic, and the railway system, and the mining and all this that was basically forging the future of the railways and the mining and just everything, with the U.S. And it's fascinating. The costumes are fantastic, and it's got a great ensemble cast as well.
Plus, it filled your Downton Abbey hole.
Well, I've never watched Downton Abbey, but it's from the Downton Abbey creators, and it's been one of those things where I've been wanting to like check out Downton Abbey, but there's just so many things on the list right now I haven't.
Yeah.
But this is my jam right here, The Gilded Age. Absolutely love it. All right, this was one of my biggest surprises of the year, and I hope that this gets renewed. I love Mobland. This was, I believe, on Paramount Plus. Tom Hardy, Pierce Brosnan, and Helen Mirren of a London area mob family trying to survive against other mob families. And Pierce Brosnan and Helen Mirren are the leaders of this family. And Tom Hardy plays kind of the enforcer. He also plays the very smart and calculated person. So he can see stuff, he knows how to predict and how to get out of trouble, and he knows how to size things up. And he's the guy that does a lot of the bloody work. And this had a wonderful dichotomy going on between 2 mob families. And then organized crime outside of England that they have to deal with is fascinating. And what's so funny, there's this girl that I work with, Kyle. She got pregnant, and her husband were looking for like a show to watch. I'm like, you got to watch Mobland. So she started watching it, and we started going back and forth. And there's a girl character in the series called Serafina, and she ended up naming her daughter Serafina.
Just go back to Mobland for just 1 second, because this is the thing I love about Mobland, and it's Tom Hardy. Because Tom Hardy,
have you watched it?
I haven't watched the whole thing. I'm about halfway through it.
Okay,
but what I love about Tom Hardy is the kind of actor he's become and kind of star he's become. He is an A-list actor, but he has no problem going and doing these crazy TV shows that a lot of people would say, oh, you're above that. And yet he goes in and he dives in and he does these things. Tom Hardy's just going to do what he's going to do. And if he likes it, he's going to do it. And that's what I love about Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy is so good in this, but the ensemble cast in this is amazing, and it's violent. It gets bloody, and I hope that we get a second season because of the way things ended in season 1. So one of my big surprises. I just absolutely loved it. Now, my top 2, I kept going back and forth. And so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do this first, is that I have this listed as 1, which is Andor season 2. Because it's Star Wars and it was so good. And it, as you mentioned, it had one of the most best Star Wars speeches with Mon Mothma about the death of freedom as the Empire's taken over. And Diego Luna was just fantastic as Andor. And there's just so many great characters and creatures and stuff in this. And it was a great, I'm assuming we're not getting any more Andor because, well, what happens next is that we go into Rogue One and we know what happens to Andor.
Yeah, it's a pretty definite finale for Andor.
Yeah, but it was I'm so glad we got to season 2, and it's some of the best writing, and visually it was fantastic. It was just top-notch Star Wars. I keep going back and forth on this one though, but I think right now Landman dude is just killing it on all cylinders right now. And so I'm just going to put it as a tie with number 1 with Andor. It might be edging it out right now because we're still watching Landman and there's still a few more episodes. My dad got obsessed with this. He's been watching and he loves this. And Billy Bob Thornton this is his I guess premier let's be honest, this is apex bound for Billy Bob Thornton.
Yeah, I truly believe this. If anybody else was in this role, it wouldn't be nowhere near as good a show as it is.
Oh, God, no.
It's the magic of Billy Bob Thornton in this that makes this how he's able to play off all these other actors. And there's great performances all the way around.
Tyler Sheridan show as well,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I think I'm starting to think there's more than one Tyler Sheridan because one person cannot be writing all this television.
And what's cool is Demi Moore comes into the second season. She was introduced in the first season, and she has a larger role in this. And we get Andy Garcia, who gets involved as well. But Ali Larter has been stealing a lot of her scenes. She looks great. She's the estranged yet now back together, wife of Billy Bob's character. And then Sam Elliott comes into the second season as Billy Bob's father. And he's just killing it as well. And this is a fascinating show about a fascinating industry that a lot of us didn't really get to know or have any idea what goes on behind the scenes. And this show is giving you a great behind the scenes of the oil industry, both the money side of things and the dirty side of things. It's fantastic.
I do want to ask you one thing about Landman too, Kevin, because there is one character on that show that kind of takes me out of it a little bit, and that's his daughter. Something about his daughter just annoys the living hell out of me.
I think she's supposed to be annoying because she's the typical pretty rich kid. But the moments between her and Ali Larter, her mom, are very funny. Yeah. And so it's I see where you're getting at it, but she doesn't bug for me because Ali Larter and her are really good together, but she's just playing a typical rich kid that is privileged and is a little not maybe shallow, but one-minded on when it comes to certain things, but there's a little charm to her, I guess, but yeah, absolutely. So that's it from my top television of 2025.
Yeah. I think 2026 is going to be a huge year, and like I said, we'll be covering that here on Culture Clash and the Fandom Podcast Network. But we got a couple other things we still got to talk about here. In fact, guys, it feels like things are getting a little upside down around here, Kevin.
Hey, you changed the slide. It's upside down. I love it.
one of the big things to end 2025 was we finally got the end of Stranger Things. And I've talked with Kevin about this, and this show, I truly believe, is one of the most important pop cultural iconic shows this of this century. I have not seen a show just grab the lexicon like it did. I mean, well, it started on Friday, July 15th, 2016. It made its debut on Netflix.
Was it really 2016?
Yeah, it blew up.
That was like when we were like, new on the FPN, it was,
well, if you remember right, Norman, our other co-founder, Norman Lau, he was all like, "God, are you watching this?" Because the first season was just such a nostalgia trip. I mean, and it was not only becoming pop culture, but it was a nostalgia mega show. It had a questionable second season. There was massive delays because of COVID and a writer's strike. And then finally on New Year's Eve, the journey of 11 and the story of Hawkins came to an end, at least for now. But we want to give our thoughts not only on season 5 and the finale, but Stranger Things and the impact Stranger Things has had as a whole, Kevin. And
before you go any
in your
further,
hands something specific.
Yeah, so I had to get this. Like, I actually bought this used. I remember when it was new at Target, and this was the Stranger Things. Remember when Netflix used to release stuff on physical media?
Yeah.
And this was season 1. It looked like a VHS tape here, and this is if you pull it out, the DVDs look like a VHS tape. This is really, really cool. This is DVD, right?
No, that is DVD.
Yeah, DVD, yes. But it's very cool. It looks like a VHS tape, both on the bottom and around it. And then you open it up, and there's the DVDs right there. So, it's great. I had to save this first season for that reason. But go ahead, continue, Kyle.
Well, the Duffer Brothers have gone on record saying they are fans of physical media, and they are trying to talk Netflix into releasing a 4K complete series box set.
Yes, please.
So, yeah. But well, let's go ahead and talk. Obviously, we have here the different posters of the seasons of Stranger Things. But Kevin, let's kick things off with season 5, because we've been anticipating this. This was the big finale. So I want to start with giving our thoughts on season 5 before we get into Stranger Things as a whole. What were your thoughts on season 5 of Stranger Things and the finale?
So it was weird because we had such a long delay, and of course the kids are all kind of grown up now, and some of the kids get away with still looking like they're in high school. And Millie Bobby Brown obviously is a young woman now, and she's done a lot of social media and she does a lot of promotion and everything. So yeah, you have to kind of get used to the fact that they're all older now, and a lot of people did have trouble. My wife did. She's kind of struggled, like, hey, they're too old and blah blah blah. It didn't bother me one bit. And overall, I liked how, and full disclosure, Kyle, I did go onto YouTube and find the best seasons 1 through 4 wrap up before I started watching season 5, because I didn't have time to go back and rewatch. Okay. I just didn't. Really glad that I did. So when my wife and I started watching it, was it Halloween, right?
Yeah. Halloween,
was it
Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's.
Or I thought it was Thanksgiving.
No, it was Thanksgiving. You're right. It was Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's.
So my wife was here for Thanksgiving, and so we watched it, and I really liked how things started to resume. And then through Christmas and now New Year's, I really thought that they stuck the landing. My wife was kind of like, "Oh, someone's got to die. There has to be some stakes." And they did have the girl that came from season 2. She ended up dying, and there was some other people that died too. But the big thing though is that all of them pretty much survived, all of the main kids, and I thought it was a smart move that they did do that, because I was like, God, who's going to die? I don't know if I want them to die, And I did like the fact that with everything that happened on season 5 with Vecna wrapped up, and they didn't drag it out to the last minute, because then you got to see what was happening with the kids in the aftermath of it and what they did. And, I'll let you talk more on that, but I thought I'm just going to sum it up saying, I thought they stuck the landing. I was not disappointed with it.
Yeah. I'm going to completely agree with you that they stuck the landing. The things I liked about season 5, one is they took it in a direction that I wasn't expecting of what the Upside Down really was. And I think they actually pulled that off very well. I think, again, like you, Kevin, the aging of the kids didn't bother me so much, because I've accepted this show had things beyond its control affected its release schedule. And unfortunately, these kids were young. They're gonna grow up. They hit the hormones kick in, the special sauce from the McDonald's burgers kick in, they sprout and grow.
I did want to give a shout out to my friend Charles in Georgia. When I was living in Georgia, Charles was a fellow member of the Georgia 501st Star Wars costume group, also the Rebel Legion costume group, and so I did several troops with him, and he was also in charge of approving costumes and everything. And he has had a wonderful little side job of being extras on a lot of productions in around Georgia, including I think he did some Walking Dead stuff, but he also worked on the upcoming John Madden film. Kyle, he was in that. He did extra work, but he did a lot of extra work for Stranger Things. And after the series started dropping, he was able to share pictures of him, like, there's me, I'm the dead army corpse there, or I'm the captured person there. And so he's showcasing all these stuff that he got to do throughout the season 5. So it was nice to get a little background and behind the scenes look of what was happening there. And he even showed some set pictures in between takes and stuff. It was great.
Yeah, that is so awesome. But two, for me, with season 5, especially the finale. Now, one, that was absolutely beautiful. The effects in that, when they fight the Mind Flayer, everything about that. The moment 11 shows up, in the other dimension, just everything about that finale was great. And I'm going to say this now: one of the most emotional finales of something I've seen in a very long time. Everybody I've talked to choked up a little bit when they're putting the binders in after their last D&D adventure.
Yeah.
And everything of that. And what I think the Duffer Brothers did so well in season 5 too was they made every season before it important. And I know we talked about this a little bit offline. It felt very much to me like what Star Trek DS9 did back in the day, where they did things that lifted the level of season 1, which a lot of people consider kind of the weakest season of DS9. I think the Duffer Brothers did a very good job of doing that with season 2 of Stranger Things. I think they lifted some things for Stranger Things season 2 and made Stranger Things season 2 feel more important. Now, I did a full rewatch, and I really did feel that way because I waited until I watched the first 2 sets of episodes and then started the rewatch of season 2. And I really felt like there was, because of the things they did, they lifted the importance of season 2, and it improved to me the value of season 2 as well. But this was what, like I said, considering everything they've been through, they stuck the landing, and it is one of the best endings to a show I've ever seen, Kevin. I'm going to be honest.
I've famously said that I almost gave up on Stranger Things after season 2. I did not like season 2. I have not gotten back to rewatch it, and it just did not sit with me. And I thought I was 2 and done with Stranger Things until season 3. Season 3 just brought me right back in. Being at the Starcourt Mall, I was actually at that mall in Georgia while they were filming scenes there, because it was a dying mall. Basically, there wasn't a lot of shops open like it used to be, and they had cordoned off a whole section of it, including the main part that you saw in there and the food court and everything. And I love the whole thing with the evil Russians. Was just something that was great. I love the fact that I'm sorry, the sheriff's name I'm forgetting. Hopper, yeah, he got sent through there, and then in season 4 he's in Russia. Great lead up there, but yeah, I almost ended it there, Kyle. But I'm glad that I did, and I'm glad I'm stuck with it. I have not gone back and done a full rewatch of all of them. Maybe eventually I will, especially if it comes on physical media. But one of the things I wanted to touch about was Kyle, is just the showcasing what it was like being a kid in the 80s. And whether it was the D&D scare of, witchcraft that a lot of people thought, and the devil and all that kind of stuff, and heavy metal. And Eddie was one of the best characters of this show. And he, sacrificed himself to save others. And it's fascinating because I feel like with a younger generation that's been watching this, that didn't grow up in the 80s, are getting a little look into what it was like. And questions that they might have, like people were like, did you really get to ride your bike around until it went dark, and do all this kind of stuff? And that's what the adventure was like when we were kids, Kyle. We just, your parents just let you go. There wasn't a lot to worry about. You just had to be back by, dinner time, and it just, that nostalgia, and the music was fantastic throughout this entire series, Kyle.
Revived Kate Bush's career.
Yeah, I mean, it was just done so well. Metallica, Master of Puppets got a run as well. I mean, there was just so much good music in this, and it just hit a certain nostalgia for us Gen Xers and younger that remember that time. And there were some questionable bad wigs and some other little things. Like, did that really happen then? But overall, I didn't get too nitpicky about that. It was just a wonderful young cast, supporting cast that just did a great job of hitting a certain era that we, as Gen X and my wife always do, we live in this kind of 80s bubble now. And we're still listening to 80s music. We're still watching 80s movies and TV series.
I'm going to say this, and this I think is probably a hot take. We've had Star Wars, we've had Marvel, we've had a few other big IPs. I truly think from the time Stranger Things came out till it wrapped up, Stranger Things became as big as of an IP as any Star Wars, Marvel, or Disney thing. Stranger Things was everywhere, and it played for everybody because you had the nostalgia aspect of pulling in everybody from the 80s and the appeal to it of a younger generation, seeing a new set of young actors coming up who were everywhere. And that's the thing. These Stranger Things kids were everywhere, but they weren't everywhere to make it nauseating. They were getting involved in regular pop culture things in the now, still while doing things with Stranger Things. And I think it just was, they hit on a piece of magic, and it just worked so well. I think Stranger Things could easily go down as one of the top 10 IPs of all time.
Yeah, it definitely. And I think that once we get it, like, be able to rewatch it and remember like more of the seasons more clearly, I think it's just going to cement itself more, because I think that people are going to be returning to this show. And I wanted to ask you, Kyle, because a lot of us have been talking about, what is your favorite season?
It's close. It's either season 1 or season 3. I think that really hit, those two seasons really hit the nostalgia button. Season 1, because you had no idea what the show was, and it just pulled you in. It was so magical.
Yeah.
Season 3, you knew what you were getting, but then you get the extra stuff with the Russians and the whole mall side of things. Season 2 is the weakest season still. When I say that they did elevate it, and they made things important in it. But I think season 4 and season 5 are right there neck and neck. But I think season 1 and season 3 for the nostalgia factor. And season 3 might get a little extra love because of Dustin singing the Never Ending Story. I'm just saying. but let me ask you. I have a question for you, because I think.
Hold on, I want to answer my own question.
Okay.
Season 3 is my favorite, and then maybe season 4, season 3, and season 4, but season 3 for sure.
So I think the question I want to ask you, Kevin, and I think this is a question this is going to be one of those shows that's going to be eternally asked by this question. Obviously, this show had major delays between seasons because of between the pandemic, the writer's strike. If those things don't happen, then this show stays on schedule to where it's probably done 2020, 2021. Does this show still have the impact that it has had? Is it remembered as much? Because I think that's part of the mystique of the show, is those delays and them growing up. Is it a better show, or does it take away from it some?
It's funny. I like seeing them older, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
And in a way, I think the delays might have helped it, because you were hungry for it. You were so hungry for it. And watching the cross promotion that Target stores were doing with season 5, where it had its own like aisle, and all the toys and paraphernalia and the little entrance, the little entrance thing, you got your picture taken in and stuff like that. I mean, it was huge. So I kind of feel that it helped it, to be honest with you, because you were just so hungry for it.
So as we wrap up our thoughts on Stranger Things, Kevin, one last question I have for you is, who do you think are the biggest breakout stars of Stranger Things? Who has broken out the biggest since Stranger Things has started?
Millie Bobby Brown probably is the biggest there. And I think also it was a strong avenue for David Harbour, because outside of the Red Guardian, I think this, because he's the main adult in this because of his relationship with 11, Millie Bobby Brown. I think those two were the ones. I mean, you could, it had a great overall cast, but the standouts for me are those two because of the father figure that he takes over for 11, or L as they call her now. And Winona Ryder obviously is the mother of the couple of these kids and stuff, but I think it's Harbour and Millie Bobby Brown. What about you?
I think there's 4 that really break out for me. I think Millie Bobby Brown and David Harbour are the top 2, and I'm willing to go Harbour number 1. You think about it, with Red Guardian, Violent Night, some of the other projects he's done. People kind of knew who David Harbour was. It's like, oh, that guy, when you realize he was on the Newsroom.
His only miss for me is God, when he did the superhero guy, Jesus, I'm trying to blank now. The Red Devil superhero one.
Oh, Hellboy.
Thank you.
I don't even put that on him. I think he just
that was
Ron Perlman shoes and stuff like that.
That was just bad. They just should have stuck with Ron Perlman. But anyway, go ahead.
So I think Millie Bobby Brown, obviously. I think David Harbour, Joe Keery. I think the actor who
Which one's
Steve.
That one?
He played Steve.
Oh God, yeah, Steve, yeah.
And he has got a movie coming out in February called Cold Storage with Liam Neeson that looks absolutely crazy and fun. If you can go find the trailer for that. But I also think Maya Hawke.
Yeah. I think Maya Hawke and Sadie Sink are a couple of the standouts there.
Sadie Sink is about to be in a Marvel movie in the next she's a big part of the next Spider-Man film. So yeah. But, I mean, it's going to be very curious to see how all these actors, because I think they're all going to be predominant. They're going to be involved in Hollywood going forward. Even now, the young actress who played the youngest of the Wheeler family, she got a lot of run in this last season.
Yeah.
But Finn Wolfhard has done a lot of stuff already. He's done Ghostbusters. He did It. He's done a lot of things already, and I think
he's hosting. I believe he's hosting Saturday Night Live soon too.
Yeah, in fact, I think the 17th, when they come back from their holiday break, he's their first host. So, yeah, I think Stranger Things is going to be a thing that will be in the pop culture and fandom lexicon for life now. Yeah, I think it's joined that cast, but we're going to turn things right side up here, guys, and it's time to get into our last segment here on the Culture Clash. It's time for a little buy it, stream it, or unsee it. Yeah, that's right. It is time for buy it, stream it, or unsee it. Our review section here on Culture Clash. We give our thoughts. If we really liked it, we're going to tell you to buy it. If we liked it, but maybe not all the way, stream it. Or as Michael Moore said about Pacific Rim Uprising, can I unsee it and have it wiped from my mind?
My daughter loves that movie. So do I.
Fun movie. I was actually watching it the other night, but
yeah.
To buy it, stream it, or unsee it, we tie in our good friends at Letterboxd. Kevin and the Queen of Movie Food, Lacey Adderhold, always have astronomical numbers. And Kevin, I recently saw on Facebook you posted your numbers for Letterboxd for the year. Did you kind of refresh everybody of what your count was at the end of this year?
Yeah, so 2025, I watched a total of 427 movies. I didn't beat my 2024 record, which was at 432. But when I started my first year in 2023, it was at 406. So do the math there of how many movies I've seen in 3 years. And right now, as through January 10th, I've seen 18 films. What's interesting, though, Kyle, is I have not been to the theater yet since the first of the year. So I'll be changing that soon because there's a couple of films coming out this next week I do want to see. But yeah, I'm at 18 going into 2026, 10 days in right now. So yeah,
he's sprinting out of the gate. Let's see if he can rest up for his marathon.
I wasn't sure when I was going to get it in, but my daughter actually inspired me to do a full extended Hobbit movie marathon before I went in and did my Lord of the Rings extended marathon. So I did those. And then my daughter and I, because she wanted to do a Star Wars blows up at midnight thing, like we usually do. like with the original Star Wars, and we did it with Return of the Jedi with the destruction of the second Death Star. But we started expanding other Star Wars movies where you could do episode 7 with Starkiller Base. But she picked episode 3 this year because she wanted to do it where at midnight the Emperor executes Order 66. And then we decided to start watching the Star Wars movies in chronological order after that. We went back to episode 1. We watched episode 2. We just watched Star Wars, the Clone Wars movie. We've already watched episode 3, so we're going to go ahead and watch Solo next. We've been watching. We've been watching it through. We've been watching it through Discord because she's still in Georgia. So yeah,
I think next year what you should do for midnight is the Vader slaughter and Rogue One right at midnight.
That was a thing too. We were discussing that. So yeah.
Well, let's get into our movies for buy it, stream it, or unsee it, and we're kicking things off. Kevin talked about this a little earlier with his favorite films, Avatar: Fire and Ash. Now, I saw this on premiere night. I went to a IMAX laser screening 3D. Visually, the Avatar films are still top-notch, outstanding. What Cameron has done with these is absolutely fantastic. You're not going to an Avatar movie for the story. I'm going to be honest here, I love this movie. I had a great time with it visually, everything like that. The runtime killed me a little bit. It was over 3 hours. And that's a long time to sit in a theater. Now, again, you're blown away by the visuals of Avatar. You don't want to look away. The story was solid. Was it? I honestly, in my opinion, I prefer the second film, Way of the Water.
Me too. I love the second one, the Way of Water. Yeah, I love that one.
As far as storyline goes, but I will say this: Stephen Lang steals this movie. He has some fantastic lines in this movie. His character is great in this movie. Visually, it's absolutely stunning. You need to see this in the theaters while you have the chance, especially if you have an IMAX theater near to you.
It's still playing in a lot of screens and in 3D. It's still there. I mean,
go ahead, Kevin.
I went to an IMAX 3D first showing. I had to, and so glad that I did. I want to try to catch it again in 3D before it leaves the theaters. And you're right about Stephen Lang. He's fantastic in this, and I love the fact that what we saw in Way of the Water with the whales and just all of the water life really had a huge role in this film as we're introduced to new villains that team up with Stephen Lang's character, Colonel Quaritch, and the Sully family has to go through more trials, and it just visually was so much fun and fantastic. What a way to enjoy a movie theater.
I think that might have been one of my things too with this one was I didn't feel that the other villains, the new tribe they introduced, felt like a threat like they should have been. There was just something a little off about it. And I can't quite place why. They just didn't feel like they were made a significant enough threat.
Well, the threat was the alliance between the now human and the Na'vi with them, because Quaritch has this grudge against Sully and his family that he just won't quit. But his son Spider though makes a turn in this. He becomes a breather. It was just fascinating.
Yeah, and very interesting concept in how they did that as well. But now, Kevin, I would definitely say Avatar is a buy it without any question. It's still visually mind blowing.
Yeah, it's a buy it for me. I have the first 2 in 3D. I hope they release this third one in 3D as well, because I still got my 3D player and 3D TV, and I did a rewatch of 1 and 2 in 3D, and it was great.
I'm sorry. In my opinion, the first Avatar movie is still the greatest 3D movie of the modern era.
It is. Yeah. What's interesting too, I just want to say real quick, Kyle, is I watched the first one in 3D, but the extended version of Avatar that has a little prequel to Sully while he's living on Earth and he's in his wheelchair and he gets drunk, he gets in a bar fight and stuff like that. I did watch that first because that's not in 3D. That's not available in 3D. And then I went and popped in the regular one because it starts right there. So yeah.
Well, up next is the latest edition of the Tron franchise. And if you are familiar with Culture Clash, I am a huge fan of Tron. And this was Tron Ares starring Jared Leto. I'm going to be honest with you. I went to see this because of the visuals. Tron on the big screen needs to be.
You don't go to Tron movies for the stories.
Right. I'm gonna be honest. I'm also not a huge Jared Leto fan. I'm very mixed with him. But you went to this movie for the visuals and for the Nine Inch Nails soundtrack, and those pay off tenfold. I need one of the light cycles that they built for this movie for the regular world.
Dude, when they get into the regular world and have the light cycle race and chase, it was fantastic.
Yeah, that was one of the best scenes of the movie, and I need one of those practical light cycles. Disney, I know you got one floating around in Orlando somewhere, so I'm just going to come up and borrow that. There are things I loved about this movie besides the visuals and the music. The concept of how they brought the programs into the real world was so well done. Basically, they were literally 3D printed into the real world, and I thought that was a great idea. I love certain members of the cast of this. I love the fact they tied it in back to some. I think they gave more love to the original Tron film in this than they actually did in Tron Legacy. To me, if I'm going to be honest, but that's the catch with this film. There is barely any mention of the events of Tron Legacy in this. There's a little bit of mention about Sam Flynn and the character Olivia Wilde played in Tron Legacy, but really nothing. This almost felt like a side story more than as a true sequel. Like, okay, this is a side story that might tie into what we had planned after Legacy. But here's the problem. Disney has no idea what to do with this franchise. They've never really paid it proper respects, even though they keep trying to put out movies because it's got such a cult following to it, and it's so visually cool. The best Tron thing outside of the original film is the Tron Uprising animated series, which is absolutely phenomenal. And if you look at the voice acting cast from that show, which includes Elijah Wood, Lance Hendrickson, Mandy Moore, Emmanuel Chikre, and so many other fairly well-known stars, that show was fantastic. I actually did a rewatch of it after I watched Tron Ares. But Kevin, it was just, this movie was frustrating to me in so many aspects because you could see the pieces there of something really intriguing and really good, but it was almost like they were afraid to take that step to do it. And it just felt like we just need to throw a Tron movie out because we need to throw a Tron movie out.
You know, I think what hurt this film is Jared Leto. I'm not a huge fan of Jared Leto either, but he didn't hurt the film for me. And I think a lot of people didn't go to this movie because of Jared Leto.
He's got a few problems right now.
It's not just whatever, but regarding his role in this, he didn't steal the movie at all. I felt like the other surrounding characters did. He just played this character Ares that becomes self-aware, and he wants to break away from the villainy that's happening in this. That's related to the first film. Was it the grandson of
Dillinger?
Dillinger,
It was
yeah.
Sark. It was Sark in the first film, which they play a great Stinger Sing tribute to that.
Yeah, so it's the grandson that's basically trying to do a power move.
Evan Peters played it.
That's right. Thank you. He was what, Quicksilver, right?
Yeah, Quicksilver. Yeah.
In the X-Men thing. But there's some other great side characters in this, and Leto to me didn't take away from it, but because he's all over the pictures and everything, people just don't want to deal with it. But I had low expectations going in anyway, and I didn't go in for a heavy story, and it entertained me. And 3D was fantastic, really did. The soundtrack was great as well. And I ended up getting the limited edition Steelbook Tron Ares right here. I hate these little things though that go on the Steelbooks, and you don't know where to put them after you open up the cellophane around it. That's the only annoying thing about it. But it's a nice collection here. And it's a 4K and Blu-ray and digital copy right here. I've already cashed in the digital copy. But I really, really hope that they release it in 3D as well. I also upgraded my Tron and Tron Legacy to the new Steelbooks that they released this year as well.
Yeah, those were nice Steelbooks.
Yeah, so I have a nice collection of that. But I enjoyed it. It was obviously a buy it for me, and obviously a stream it. What about you?
I bought it because, again, I love Tron and I'm a completionist. I think for most people, I'd say it's probably a stream it.
And it just dropped on Disney Plus, so there you go.
Yeah. Here's the other thing. You had a Tron movie without Tron. And that fell off. I mean,
no Bruce Boxleitner. Yeah.
No Bruce Boxleitner, or even a mention of a Tron. You could have just had the Tron program without
Yeah.
something. But that felt a little off too. But yeah, I mean, I love Tron. I always will love Tron, and so yeah, for me, it's I bought it, but I think for most people, it's a stream.
Next thing they're gonna do, they gotta try the Tron light cycle ride.
That's my I need to get up to Orlando to do that. I can't wait to do that. But the next film we have is something that I didn't catch in theaters, but I did catch recently on cable, and that is Roofman, which is of course based off of a true story about a prisoner who escapes from prison and ends up living in a Toys R Us. And this movie starring Channing Tatum. I love the trailers. You got Peter Dinklage in this, Kristen Dunst is in this. But Kevin, the big thing about this movie, and it's something that I've come to a realization, Channing Tatum might be the most likable actor in Hollywood. He's just charming in this, and he's even with his faults, he's the nice guy criminal basically. Dinklage is hilarious in this. Kirsten Dunst is doing her thing, but this really is all about Channing Tatum and his portrayal of this character, and it's very interesting to see that they actually stayed in some ways very close to the true story without going too far from it. And they talk about the original, the true Roofman and where he's at now. But Kevin, this is just a fun, make you kind of feel good movie. Just sit back and enjoy it. I'm not saying this is probably one of those ones you're fine watching on cable. And for me, I would say it was a stream it. But I think, again, Channing Tatum is just so charming and so fun in this. You can't help but root for him.
That's good to hear. I was kind of on the fence about it, but after hearing what you have to say about it, and it's what was it? Was it on Paramount? I think it is.
Paramount. I think it's on HBO now.
Okay.
So
yeah, I'll have to check it out because I keep seeing it on whatever streamers I'm seeing it. It's like taunting me right there. So yeah.
Yeah, like I said, check this
So
out.
it's a stream it for you.
Yeah, it's definitely a stream it. I might, it would be like maybe if it goes on sale for like $10 on digital or something like that, I'd pick it up. But for sure, it's a stream it. I think it's at least worth a check out. I don't know how much the rewatchability factors varies per person, I think, on this, and I think it's more of what your interpretation is with it. But lastly, and I talked about this movie a little bit earlier, Now You See Me, Now You Don't. It was on my top 5 of movies. I absolutely love this franchise, especially the first one was so much fun. And it was a movie that surprised me because I didn't expect it to be as good as it was. The second one was a little down for me, but this one, getting all the original cast back with Isla Fisher back into the mix, plus they still bring back characters from the second film as well. But I love the Four Horsemen. I love Jesse Eisenberg in these films. I love Woody Harrelson in these films. Dave Franco is great. Morgan Freeman is still Morgan Freeman. But what works is the 3 new characters they bring in, the 3 new magicians that they involve in this. And Kevin, I am going to tell you, they twist at the end. If anybody tells you they see it coming, they're lying through their teeth because it's that shocking. And it's so well done. And
do you see a 4th one in the works then?
Oh, most definitely. I very easily. But what's so great about it too is you can tell the actors are having fun with each other and they're enjoying what they're doing with each other. This is a buy it for me without any choice. I walked out of the theater, like I said earlier, with a huge smile on my face. It was probably the most fun I had at the movies this year, Kevin.
That's good to hear.
So now, Mr. Reisel, I know you have a couple of movies that you would like to discuss as well. I'm going to hand the slideshow controls back over to you.
Yeah, so a couple films that I wanted to talk about here is Zootopia 2. I was very happy to return to this because I really enjoyed the first one. I actually have the first one on physical media. I have it on 3D as well. Just a really wonderful, well done film. The world in this was wonderful to return to, and absolutely thoroughly enjoyed this sequel as well. It expanded on the original, and the new, they brought back a lot of the original crew and cast. Jason Bateman, of course, is the lead in this, and then bunch of new characters and stuff, and expanded on the world of Zootopia and the history of it and stuff like that. And I had to see it in 3D, and I did. I was glad that I did. I am happy, and apparently this movie is a huge hit.
Oh, this movie is making buku box office still.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised. It's a great family film as well. It's definitely a buy it for me. I highly recommend it. Love the characters in this, and I love how they expanded on the world of Zootopia as well. So yeah.
I'm definitely planning to see this. I love the first Zootopia. I think this is one of the most. I think this right now might be the biggest franchise Disney has behind Frozen.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. So recommend it. Now, another film I've been waiting to see, uh, well, I've already seen them, but not in the way that it was officially released right before the end of the year, is I went to go see Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair. Now, apparently there was a version of this that was done somehow, some way, and there was bootleg versions or fan edit versions of Kill Bill 1 and 2 edited together. But it got an official limited release at the end of this year, and I went to go see the whole damn thing. And it was absolutely wonderful and glorious. And you also got to see extended scenes, especially the animated scenes with what's her name? The Jesus, the Charlie's Angels girl.
Lucy Liu.
Yes, thank you. Her character, Ren Ishii, I think that's her name. They added a little more backstory to the animated segment in that, and there was a couple other scenes that were in there as well. But it was so cool to see this as one gigantic movie. And I'm going to go on the record here again, and I remember stating this, and I still stand by it. And I remember back in the early days of Adam O'Brien, before he did his Lethal Mullet, he was doing the Jogcast podcast. You remember those, Kyle?
Yep.
And I think we did a podcast, maybe even a commentary on Kill Bill Volume 2. I'm actually a bigger fan of Volume 2 than I am of 1, because it's more Tarantino-ish when it comes to the dialogue. And there's scenes with Bud and Daryl Hannah's character that I just can't get enough of. It was great to see this in the theaters. 4.5 hours, something like that. Yeah, dude, it was fantastic. But what was really cool though is you did get like a quick little 10-minute break in between the movies. So you
would have to have a bathroom. They needed to give you a bathroom break.
Yeah. But I didn't need it, but I did it anyway. So yeah, it was great. It was so cool to see this on the big screen. It's still one of the best revenge movies of all time. It was fantastic. Yeah. So
4 hours.
I hope it's a buy it. I hope it's released on physical media. Give me some money, man. I'll do it. I love it. Buy it.
Money.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, just real quick. I do have one real quick hot topic before we get out, and we're running long. But 2025 was a weird year for me. I had a lot going on. I did appreciate the things I saw, and like I was talking about with Kevin a little bit earlier, it was one of these years where it just very few things just grabbed me and felt like they stuck with me. But I do want to say this as I'm looking forward to 2026. I can already see several things that I am just really, truly excited for 2020. But the biggest thing for me, Kevin, is even though I feel like people started going back a little bit to the theaters in 2025, whether it's because of popcorn buckets, finally getting over some fear of COVID related things and whatever, and delays from the writer's strike.
It was the year of popcorn buckets for sure.
Yeah. I think the movie slate we have coming in 2026 is going to get people back into the theaters full tilt. We have Avengers movie coming out. We have several other huge films coming out, and films that people have been waiting some time for. But we're
the Odyssey. I think it's.
I can't wait for the Odyssey. That's on my top 5.
Can I go?
Yeah.
The Odyssey is what I'm looking forward to the most, to be honest with you. I got to see an extended scene of the Trojan horse scene. I think it was before I saw either Avatar or I want to say maybe it was the Kill Bill, but they showed like an extended scene of the Trojan horse scene from the Odyssey. And I can't wait for that. I'm going to be right there in line. Whether what is it supposed to be? Dune Odyssey? Like
no, it's what is it? Dune is going up against Avengers Doomsday.
Oh, that's right.
I still think it's going to move, but yeah.
But it's going to be Nolan's got Odyssey IMAX and all the way on this. He's got a new IMAX style camera. He's working with IMAX on the camera. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, I think there's just huge movies. I mean, you've got huge Star Wars back in theaters this year, which we haven't seen in forever. There's just there's going to be so much. There's great TV shows already right around the corner. The Pitt season 2 just started. The new Game of Thrones series starts in a week with the Night of Seven Kingdoms. There's some other shows coming along.
Yeah, we got more Tyler Sheridan coming up. The spinoff from Yellowstone. The Marshall Show or whatever it's called.
Yeah, you're gonna have another season of Strange New Worlds. We have, which I'm excited for. There's gonna be, I think 2026 is going to be a very big year in fandom, and I think kind of the year things come back. I think this is really going to be the year in full across the board, and I'm really looking forward to that. But Kevin, do you have any hot takes or hot topics as we head into the new year?
Happy 10th anniversary, buddy.
That too. 10th, 11th, it depends on when you talk about the day the dream was born.
The dream was born at the end of 2015, but we started podcasting in 2020 or 2016.
Yep.
And that, of course, was an important year for me because that's when I met my my lovely wife.
And it's never been the same since.
Yeah.
But it's been a great ride, and we aren't going anywhere, so don't worry about that. But guys, this has been a pleasure. We know this has been a longer episode of Culture Clash. We had a lot to talk about, but we want to appreciate you as we talk Stranger Things, It's Upside Down Legacy, the Death of MTV, and of course, our best of 2025. And I think we're in for a bigger 2026. You have been watching Culture Clash here on the Fandom Podcast Network YouTube channel, or if you're listening to the audio version of this, thank you for listening to whatever it is podcast catcher you listen to, because we are all over the place. And of course, if you are watching this on YouTube, scan that QR code. It's going to take you to our entire audio library at our main homepage at fpnet.podbean.com. And of course, too, we are all over the social medias. There's so many, I can't keep track anymore. But you can find, of course, the Fandom Podcast Network on Blue Sky, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Discord.
No. We're the Fandom Podcast Network is not on Discord, but we are personally on Discord. Yeah. So yeah.
And just look for @FanPod Network. Kevin, where can people find you on socials?
All the socials at Spartan_Phoenix that we just mentioned, including Discord and Letterboxd, Instagram, X, and on Blue Sky at Spartan Phoenix.
As far as X and Blue Sky, you can find me at @KyleW. Facebook, it's Kyle Wagner. On Instagram and Threads, you can find me at @KyleFandom. We're, again, all over the place. Feel free to say hi, drop into any of our Facebook groups, and give us a shout. We always love to hear from you amazing listeners out there. And of course, it's a new year, but we still have TeePublic going strong. If you are looking for the gear of the Fandom Podcast Network, you can find it there in all kinds of forms, whether it's t-shirts, caps, mugs, bags, pillows, tapestries, laptop cases. They've got it all at TeePublic. They're always having sales going on. It helps us keep the lights on around here, keeps the Kaijo in the basement fed, keeps the Magic 8 Ball happy, and most importantly, we keep Kevin's hot tub time machine clean with chlorine, because sometimes that gets a little scary.
Yeah, I haven't found any Chernobyl lately. It's kind of hard to find. So
yeah, I know you broke the Mr. Fusion. I heard about that. So, but guys, again, thank you so much for a great 2025 and what will hopefully be even a better 2026. We're going to have a lot of stuff coming to cover. It's going to be a big year for Marvel and comic book movies, so True Believers will be back. Kevin, I know you've got a few ideas planned for Blood of Kings, our Highlander show. Hopefully we'll have some Blood of Kings episodes within the new year. There's some Immortal stuff that has happened that we haven't talked about. We need to play a little catch up.
Yeah, we got stuff.
But anyway, guys,
let's end this. Come on, let's go, Kyle.
Hey, I know. I'm just trying to give the listeners love, man. It's all about the love here at the Culture Clash and the Fandom Podcast Network. This has been Culture Clash episode 286. We have been upside down. We've talked about the death of MTV. It's our best of 2025. We have done this thing. Scan the QR code on your screen. And as always, the most important things around here: respect each other and enjoy your fandom. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Be a great ride. And we are out of here.